All right, let's dive into the world of Gielinor, the home of Old School RuneScape. You know, it's a place where you can become a legend, slay some epic monsters, and make an absolute fortune. But I'm not talking about just a few gold coins. We're talking about gear so powerful, so incredibly rare, that it costs more than some real-life cars. But before we can even get into that, you gotta understand the absolute ceiling of money in this game. So look at this number right here. That's 2,147,000,000. You get the idea. In Old School RuneScape, this isn't just like a ton of money, it's literally all the money. This is the absolute maximum amount of gold the game's code can even handle. The players call it the max cash stack. Once you hit this, that's it. You can't hold a single coin more. Which, of course, raises the big question, right? What in the world could possibly cost that much? I mean, are we talking about a sword that makes you invincible? A shield that blocks everything? Some kind of helmet that lets you one-shot the biggest bosses in the game? Well, the answer is probably not what you're thinking.
Okay, so first up, let's talk about Gielinor's Billionaire Club. We're going to look at the items that are famous not because they're super powerful, but because they have a price tag that is just mind-blowing. This is pure 100% flex gear.
Just look at these prices. The top couple of items are literally hitting the max cash limit. We're talking about a pickaxe, a robe, and an axe, all costing the maximum amount of money possible. And you're probably noticing a pattern here, right? That little phrase that keeps showing up, third age? So what's the deal with third age? Well, here's the thing. These items aren't powerful at all. They don't have crazy good stats. Their value comes from one thing and one thing only. They are ridiculously, unbelievably rare. They drop from this minigame called Treasure Trails, and the odds are just astronomical. So having a third age pickaxe doesn't make you a better miner. No, it just means you're one of a tiny, tiny handful of players in the entire world who owns one. It is the ultimate digital flex. Okay, but what if you don't care about flexing? What if you actually want to be, powerful? That's where this key idea comes in. Best in slot, or as everyone calls it, biz. This is the gear that gives you the absolute best stats for any given situation. Forget status symbols. Now we're talking about raw, game-breaking power.
And first up, let's jump into melee. This is for all of you who want to get right in a monster's face and just hit it as hard as humanly possible. This is the gear that makes you an absolute powerhouse.
And the absolute king of that powerhouse setup, it's this thing right here, the Scythe of Vitor. This is probably one of the most iconic, most feared weapons in the entire game, and for a really, really good reason.
Okay, so it costs about 1.5 billion GP. And why? Well, its power is all about its unique attack. See, against big monsters, it doesn't just hit once when you swing it. Oh no, it hits 3 times in a single swing. That ability just skyrockets your damage per second, your DPS, to a level that nothing else can even touch. That's why it's worth every single coin.
Of course, a weapon like that needs some serious armor to back it up. And for a top-tier melee user, there's really only one choice, a full set of Torva armor. The whole set will run you over 600 million gold. And what you're paying for is the highest strength bonus in the game, period. In RuneScape, it's simple. More strength bonus means you hit harder. Every single point makes a difference, and Torva just gives you more of those precious points than anything else. It's as simple as that.
And when you put it all together, this is what you get. A warrior decked out in full Torva holding that insane scythe. Every single piece of this gear, from the boots to the gloves to the amulet, is all working together for one single reason: to turn you into an unstoppable melee machine that can just chew through the hardest bosses in the game.
But hey, maybe getting up close and personal isn't your style. What if you'd rather pick things off from a distance? Well, for that, we need to look at the deadliest ranged setup, all about precision and pure power. This is a perfect example of what it costs to be the best. The Zarite crossbow, that's your best in slot. It's got a ranged attack bonus of plus 110. But check out that price tag, 342 million. Now look at the Armadale crossbow. It's only 10 points weaker, but it costs almost 10 times less. That's the premium you pay for those last few points of performance, for being at the absolute peak.
And the armor you're going to pair with that beautiful crossbow? It's got to be Masori armor, and specifically the fortified version. It has the best offensive stats for ranged, hands down.
What makes Masori so special is that it gives you a boost to both ranged attack, which is your accuracy, and ranged strength, which is how hard you hit.
It's not about defense. This is a pure, all-out offensive set designed to make sure every shot you fire is as deadly as possible.
So you get your full Missouri, you grab that Zerite crossbow, and this is what you look like. The ultimate archer. Every single item here is tuned to do one thing and one thing only. Dish out the highest possible damage from afar with insane accuracy.
And finally, we arrive at the third and final piece of a combat puzzle, magic. This is where we get into the Archmage's arsenal, the gear that lets you unleash some truly devastating arcane might.
You know, in today's old school RuneScape, the entire high-level magic scene revolves around one single solitary item, and that is the staff known as PKing Shadow.
Now, this staff costs almost 1 billion GP, and here's why it's so completely broken. It has this passive effect that takes the magic accuracy bonus from all of your other gear, and it triples it. So it's not just a powerful staff on its own, it makes everything else you're wearing 3 times better. It is an absolute game changer. And what armor do you pair with a staff that insane? Well, it was basically made to be used with the Ancestral Robes set. This stuff is designed to squeeze every last drop of damage out of your spells.
See, unlike a lot of other armor, each piece of Ancestral gives you a direct percentage damage boost for your magic. So when you combine that damage boost with the insane accuracy you get from the Shadow's triple effect, well, you get a mage that almost never misses and hits like an absolute truck. So let's just pull this all back for a second. It really boils down to 2 different philosophies, doesn't it? On one hand, you've got the Third Age gear. This is the ultimate status symbol. It's valuable just because it's rare. And on the other hand, you have the best-in-slot gear, like the Scythe and the Shadow. These are the ultimate tools, valued for nothing but their raw combat power. One is for showing off wealth, and the other is for making.
And that really leaves us with the final question, the one that every player has to answer for themselves. In the world of Gielinor, what's more important? Is it the untouchable status you get from owning something almost nobody else has? Or is it the raw, undeniable power to beat any challenge the game throws your way? What really makes the ultimate player? Status or power?